I was going to tell you eventually. When? On our wedding day. On our 10th anniversary. When exactly were you planning to confess that our entire relationship was built on lies? Marcus ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I used to find endearing, but now just looked pathetic. I thought if we got married, if we made that commitment, I could put the past behind us and be the husband you deserve. The husband I deserve. A coos. The husband I deserve would never have cheated in the first place. The husband I deserve would have been honest with me from the beginning. Emma, I'm begging you. Don't throw away 3 years because of my mistakes. I'm not throwing away 3 years, Marcus. You threw them away the moment you decided Jessica was worth more than our relationship. I picked up the champagne bottle again, feeling its weight. This champagne was supposed to celebrate the beginning of our life together. Instead, it's going to commemorate the end. What do you mean? I'm not going to dinner tonight. I'm not going to accept your proposal. I'm not going to marry someone who thinks so little of me that he'd cheat with my best friend. Marcus's face crumpled. Emma, please, I love you. I made mistakes, but I love you. Love doesn't cheat, Marcus. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't plan a proposal while having an affair. I opened the champagne bottle, not to celebrate, but to pour it down the sink. The expensive Dom Perignon swirled down the drain like the 3 years of my life I'd wasted on someone who didn't deserve my trust. There goes your celebration champagne, I said, watching the last drops disappear. Just like there goes your proposal, your engagement, and your future with me. Marcus spent the next hour begging, pleading, and making promises he should have made 6 months ago. He swore he'd never cheat again, promised to cut all contact with Jessica, even offered to move to another city if that's what it would take for me to trust him again. But trust, once broken so completely, couldn't be rebuilt with promises and desperate pleas. Marcus, even if I believed that you'd never cheat again, which I don't, I could never marry you knowing what you're capable of. What I'm capable of? Emma, I'm capable of loving you, of being faithful to you, of being the man you need me to be. You're also capable of lying to my face for 6 months. You're capable of sleeping with my best friend while planning our future. You're capable of buying an engagement ring while betraying our relationship. Those were mistakes. Those were choices every single day for 6 months. You chose to betray me. You chose to lie to me. You chose Jessica over our relationship. Marcus pulled out the blue velvet box, opening it to reveal a stunning diamond ring that probably cost more than my car. Kama, look at this ring. Look at how much I love you. Kama, that ring doesn't represent love, Marcus. It represents guilt. You bought that ring to make yourself feel better about cheating, not because you love me. That's not true. When did you buy it? When exactly did you buy that ring? Marcus's face flushed. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Marcus, according to these photos, you were with Jessica 3 weeks ago. You bought my engagement ring while you were still sleeping with her? I had already decided to end things with her, but you hadn't ended them yet. You bought a ring to propose to me while you were still actively cheating on me? The timeline made everything worse. Marcus hadn't ended his affair and then decided to propose. He'd decided to propose while still maintaining his relationship with Jessica, keeping both options open until the last possible moment. Emma, I know how this looks, but I swear to you, I had already made my choice. I chose you. You chose me because I was the safer option, because you knew I'd say yes, because Jessica probably wouldn't have been as easy to manipulate into marriage. It's not why, Marcus. Did Jessica know you were planning to propose to me? His silence was answer enough. She did know, didn't she? You told your mistress that you were going to propose to your girlfriend. How romantic, Emma. Please, did you discuss it with her? Did you ask Jessica's opinion about whether you should marry me? It wasn't like that. What was it like? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you were treating both of us like options in your personal dating portfolio. I stood up and walked to our bedroom, pulling out a suitcase and beginning to pack. Marcus followed me, growing more desperate with each item of clothing I folded. Where are you going? I'm going to stay with my sister until I can find my own place. Emma, this is your home too. You don't have to leave. Can't stay here, Marcus. Every room in this apartment reminds me of the lies you told me. Every piece of furniture reminds me of the future we planned while you were destroying it. We can go to counseling. We can work through this together. There is no we anymore, Marcus. You destroyed we when you chose to have an affair with my best friend? One mistake doesn't have to end everything. It wasn't one mistake. It was hundreds of mistakes. Every lie you told every time you came home to me after being with her. Every time you let me believe in a future that you were actively sabotaging. I zipped up my suitcase and looked around the bedroom one last time. The bed where Marcus had told me he loved me while cheating on me. The dresser where he'd hidden the engagement ring while maintaining his affair. The closet where he'd kept clothes that smelled like Jessica's perfume. Emma, what about the restaurant reservation? What about tonight? Cancel it, or better yet, take Jessica. I'm sure she'd love to celebrate your failed proposal. I'm not taking Jessica anywhere. Told you that's over. It's over because you got caught, not because you chose to end it. As I walked toward the front door with my suitcase, Marcus made one last desperate attempt to stop me. Double quotes, Emma. Wait. The champagne, I know you poured it out, but I have another bottle. We can still celebrate. We can still make tonight special. I turned to look at him. This man who had just suggested we celebrate our engagement with backup champagne after I discovered his affair. Marcus, do you hear yourself? You want to celebrate our engagement hours after I found out you've been cheating on me for 6 months. I want to celebrate our love. Our love. Marcus, there is no our love. There's your selfishness and my naivety, but there's no love. Love doesn't cheat. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't plan proposals while maintaining affairs. I opened the front door and stepped into the hallway. Goodbye, Marcus. I hope someday you learn the difference between love and possession, between commitment and convenience. Emma, please. Don't leave like this. Don't end 3 years over one mistake. I'm not ending 3 years over one mistake. I'm ending 3 years because I finally discovered who you really are. The elevator doors closed on Marcus's face, and I felt something I hadn't expected. Relief. Not happiness, not satisfaction. But relief that I'd finally seen the truth about the man I'd almost married. 3 months later, I was settled in my own apartment when I received a wedding invitation in the mail. Not from Marcus. He was apparently still trying to find himself after our breakup. The invitation was from my sister, who was marrying her longtime boyfriend. I want you to know, she wrote in a note attached to the invitation, that watching you walk away from Marcus gave me the courage to demand honesty in my own relationship. Thank you for showing me what self-respect looks like. I attended the wedding and gave a toast about the importance of trust, honesty, and finding someone who values you enough to be faithful. The bride and groom laughed and promised to always tell each other the truth, even when it was difficult, because some stories don't end with forgiveness and second chances. Some stories end with a woman who was strong enough to walk away from someone who didn't deserve her, even when that someone was offering everything she thought she wanted. Marcus wanted to propose with expensive champagne and a beautiful ring while maintaining his affair with my best friend. What he got was a woman who knew her worth and refused to accept anything less than honesty and fidelity. The champagne I poured down the sink wasn't just Dom Perignon, it was the symbol of a celebration that would have been built on lies. The proposal that never happened wasn't a tragedy. It was a blessing that saved me from marrying someone who saw commitment as optional. Sometimes, most loving thing you can do for yourself is refuse to accept a proposal from someone who doesn't understand what love actually means. And sometimes the best way to celebrate your future is to walk away from someone who was never really planning to share it with you honestly. Marcus learned that planning a proposal while maintaining an affair is like trying to build a house on quicksand. Eventually, everything collapses. And I learned that I was strong enough to pour expensive champagne down the drain rather than toast to a future built on betrayal. The ring went back to the jewelry store. The restaurant reservation was canceled. The future we'd planned together disappeared like champagne down a drain. But my self-respect remained intact. And that was worth more than any proposal could ever be. If you've ever discovered someone was planning to betray you at the most important moment, hit that like button, share your story in the comments, and send this to anyone who needs to remember they deserve honesty. The Dom Perignon champagne had been chilling in our refrigerator for 3 days, waiting for the perfect moment that Marcus had meticulously planned. I knew this because he'd left the wine store receipt on our kitchen counter, right next to a small blue velvet box that he thought he'd hidden well in the back of his sock drawer. Marcus was going to propose to me at dinner tonight. I should have been glowing with happiness, counting down the minutes to the moment every woman supposedly dreams of. Instead, I was sitting on our couch, staring at the photos on my phone that had arrived via anonymous email 2 hours ago. Photos of Marcus with another woman. Not just any woman, Jessica, my best friend since college. The images showed them kissing at her apartment door, entering hotels together, sharing intimate moments that should have been ours alone. The photos had timestamps from the past 6 months. 6 months during which Marcus had told me he loved me every night. 6 months during which Jessica had consoled me about my relationship problems with Marcus, pretending to be the concerned friend while she was the very cause of those problems. My phone rang. Jessica. Hey babe, how are you feeling? Excited about dinner tonight? The casualness in her voice made me feel sick. How do you know about dinner tonight? Marcus told me. So nervous, it's adorable. I'm sure it's going to be a perfect night for you two. She knew. Jessica knew Marcus was going to propose tonight, and she was still continuing the affair. Worse, she was pretending to be my friend, encouraging me to accept a marriage proposal from a man who was cheating on me with her. Jessica, I need to ask you something. Of course, anything. Are you sleeping with Marcus? Silence on the other end was deafening. Then a forced laugh. Emma, what kind of question is that? Why would you think something like that? 'Cause I have photos, Jessica. Photos of you two together for the past 6 months. The silence returned, longer this time. When Jessica finally spoke, her voice was different, colder, less fake. I can explain. Can you explain how you slept with my boyfriend while pretending to be my best friend? Can you explain how you consoled me about our relationship problems when you were the problem? It wasn't planned. It just happened. For 6 months. Jessica, things don't just happen for 6 months. That's a choice you both made every single day. Emma, I'm sorry. Never wanted to hurt you. But you did hurt me. Every day for 6 months, you hurt me. And tonight, you are going to let Marcus propose to me, knowing that you two were betraying me. I didn't know he was going to propose tonight. You just said he told you about dinner and that he was nervous. Jessica started crying on the other end of the line. Emma, please. Our friendship means everything to me. Our friendship. Jessica, friends don't sleep with each other's boyfriends. Friends don't lie every single day for 6 months. I hung up before she could respond and immediately called Marcus. Hey, beautiful. Just picking up the flowers for tonight. Are you excited? The enthusiasm in his voice made my stomach turn. Marcus, we need to talk. Come home now. Is everything okay? You sound upset. Just come home. We need to discuss something before dinner. Emma, whatever it is, can't it wait until after tonight? I have everything planned perfectly, Marcus. Come home now, or there won't be a tonight. The line went quiet. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Those 20 minutes felt like hours. I sat in our living room, looking around at the life we'd built together over 3 years. The photos on the mantle of our trips together, the couch we'd picked out after hours of shopping, the coffee table where we'd eaten countless breakfasts while planning our future. All of it had been a lie. While I was planning our future, Marcus was building a secret life with my best friend. When Marcus walked through the door, his face was already pale with worry. Emma, what's wrong? You're scaring me? Ah? I held up my phone, showing him one of the photos. This is what's wrong. Marcus's face went white as he recognized the image. Emma, I can explain. Can you? Can you explain how you've been sleeping with Jessica for 6 months while planning to propose to me tonight? How did you, where did you get these? Does it matter? Marcus, you've been having an affair with my best friend while making me believe we had a future together. Marcus sat down heavily on the couch, his head in his hands. Emma, I love you. I've always loved you. You love me. Marcus, you've been betraying me with the person I trust most in the world. That's not love. It meant nothing. Jessica means nothing to me. Then why did you keep doing it? Okay. Why didn't you end it after the first time? I don't know. I was confused. I was scared about commitment. I made terrible choices. You made terrible choices every day for 6 months. Every time you kissed me goodnight after being with her. Every time you told me you loved me while lying to my face. Every time you let me plan our future while you were destroying it. Marcus looked up at me with tears in his eyes. Emma, I want to marry you. I want to spend my life with you. Jessica was a mistake, but you're my future. I'm your future. Marcus, you bought an engagement ring while sleeping with another woman. You planned a proposal while having an affair. How is that treating me like your future? I ended it with Jessica last week. I chose you. You ended it last week. Marcus, that was after you bought the ring, after you planned tonight's dinner. You were hedging your bets, keeping both options open until the last possible moment. That's not true. It is true. You wanted to see if you could have both of us, and when you realized you had to choose, you picked the safer option. You picked the woman who would say yes to your proposal. Marcus stood up and tried to approach me, but I stepped back. Emma, please, let me make this right. Let me prove to you that you're the only one I want. How? How are you going to prove that, Marcus? By marrying me out of guilt. By spending our honeymoon thinking about Jessica. I'll do whatever it takes. Therapy, counseling, anything you want. What I want is to have never found out that the man I loved was capable of this level of betrayal. If you're wondering how I handled discovering this betrayal just hours before his planned proposal, make sure you're following for part 2, because this is where I showed Marcus what real consequences look like. I walked to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator, pulling out the expensive champagne that Marcus had bought for our special celebration. The bottle felt heavy in my hands, weighted with all the lies and deception it was meant to commemorate. Emma, what are you doing? I'm looking at this champagne that you bought to celebrate our engagement. The engagement you planned while cheating. On me, Emma. Please don't do anything rash. If we can work through this, work through this. Marcus, you've been living a double life for 6 months. You've been making love to me while making love to my best friend. You've been planning our future while destroying our present. I set the champagne on the counter and looked at Marcus, really looked at him for what I knew would be the last time as his girlfriend. Do you know what the worst part is? It's not even the cheating. It's the fact that you were going to propose. To me tonight, knowing what you've done, you are going to ask me to marry you while keeping this secret?